This is Shawn Callaway, president of the National Federation of the Blind of the District of Columbia, and you're listening to White Canes Connect.
Hey there, PA Federationists. Welcome to another episode of White Canes Connect, presented by the National Federation of the Blind of Pennsylvania. My name is David Goldstein. I am your first vice president. Joining me today is co-host and White Canes Connect creator, Lisa Bryant. Lisa, what's on tap today?
Well, believe it or not, we're talking about National Convention. It's
Shocker.
that season. It's the season. And Shawn Callaway, who is the president of the DC affiliate, but also the president of the National Organization of Blind Black Leaders, affectionately known as NOBBL. And Shawn actually approached us and said that there's a lot in store at this year's convention and even down the pike. And he wanted to come on and give us a brief update. So we're talking to Shawn.
We are happy to have Shawn on again. And this is a call to action for any other leaders of some of the other national groups and organizations. If you have something that's going on either at convention, and at this point it'll be a little bit too late for that, but you can certainly come on after to talk about your division or your group and get it into the ears of the Pennsylvania folks, please reach out to us. We'll give you the information towards the end of the podcast, but we would love to have you on so you can tell us what you do, how you do it, and everything else that goes down. And Lisa, it was great to have Shawn on today.
Yeah, it really was. And as you will hear, Shawn is very passionate about all things DEI and NOBBL and what they're doing. So without further ado, let's hear Shawn's update.
Shawn, thanks so much for joining us today.
Oh man, I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me once again. I truly enjoy being on your podcast.
Well, Shawn, we absolutely love when someone reaches out to us and says, I have got to come back on White Canes Connect, because that means you have a lot to talk about. So I know there's a lot going on with the National Organization of Blind Black Leaders, or NOBBL, as we like to say in the acronym world. But before we get into all the updates, just for anyone who may not know a lot about the NOW division, which is one of the newer ones within the Federation, just give a little brief background on how it started and when officially it became a division.
Sure. So back in 2018, President Riccobono of the National Federation of the Blind appointed a new Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Committee. And so from that committee, which again, that was at the Florida Convention, we were discussing, just people's feelings about DEI and how they feel about attending the national convention. So one young lady, I'll never forget, her name was Florence Myers, stood up and said, I love my Federation family. I love blind people, but I would love to come to a convention where I can meet people who are like me, which is a, African-American woman. I want to meet other African-American women. So from that spurred the Black Leaders Serving for Advancement Committee under the DEI Committee from the National Federation of the Blind. So BLSA was putting on many little events, especially during the pandemic, and especially after the death of George Floyd, right? And so after a few years, people said, I think we should be a division. I think we can, really be more impactful as a division. And so after, years of being BLSA, Black Leaders Serving for Advancement, in 2022, ironically, at the New Orleans Convention in 2022, we officially became a division, started out as National Association of Black Leaders, but we then transformed into the National Organization of Blind Black Leaders. So that's how we kind of got started.
Any reason for the name change? Why was that important?
Great question. So NABL is kind of taken, right? So the National Association of Blind Lawyers. So we kind of want to differentiate from that. And so we decided to switch to NOBBL, which is National Organization of Blind Black Leaders. So that was why we didn't want people to get it confused.
It's all about the acronyms, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. No doubt.
Yeah. So tell us, Shawn, what is
Mm.
NOBBL up to these days?
Well, as always, we are definitely full of programming throughout the year because, we have members from across the country. We can't really, quote unquote, meet in person. So we have a lot of Zoom events, mainly through our Black women's group, through our mentorship and outreach group, through our Black seniors group. We have a Black elected leaders group. We have a Black men's group as well. So we've been doing programming from convention to convention throughout the year, just bringing up topics that are socially relevant to us as blind Black people. And then, of course, we have our division meeting and program at this year's National Convention in New Orleans. So I'm looking forward to that because we get to present some of our Black blind scholarship finalists. Because we have a few of those, we're going to be presenting Black individuals who are part of the Kenneth Jernigan Leadership Program. Also, we're going to have people from outside organizations. So, for example, we have a chapter of the National Council on Negro Women who will be presenting at our division meeting as well. And a lot of that, Lisa, is really to help those organizations understand that we as blind Black people need to have a seat at the table. Let me give you a quick example. After the George Floyd killings, back in Minnesota, you had all these panel discussions on, Black people and how we, need to be treated in our communities and in society. And you just had one panel discussion after another, but you did not see any blind or Black disabled people at the table, right? Never. And so that's the thing for us reaching out to these national organizations like the National Council on Negro Women to let them know we're here. We know you have blind people within your organizations as well. So we want to just invite them to meet the National Federation of the Blind and the National Organization of Blind Black Leaders. So we will have a very robust program at the convention. Also, we will have a state senator, Senator Boyd from Louisiana, state rep, who will be speaking at our National Organization of Blind Black Leaders program as well. So it's going to be a wonderful, wonderful time. And again, it really goes back to what Florence Meyer stated that, she just wants to meet people who are like her. I mean, we want to say that we as blind people, all of us have the same experiences. And quite honestly, that's not true, right? Especially as blind Black people, we have different experiences than others. And it's okay. It's not like this is some uncommon phenomenon that we have different experiences, than other people. So just looking forward to the meeting, quite honestly, because you have all these people from across the country coming.
It's nice to get together in person. And I guess after all the Zoom meetings that you have, it'll be so nice to get back in the same room with all these folks. Do you have the information on the date and time and the room where you guys are going to be meeting?
I have the date and time. I cannot remember the room number. However, it will be held on Thursday beginning at 7 p.m., of course, at the Marriott Hotel. I don't have the room number at this time, but I will encourage people to go to nfb.org and look at your convention. The convention agenda.
I will put it in the show notes. I will find it. I'm sure it's in the app. Which is a great resource for the convention itself. I'll find it in there and I'll put it in the show notes. So just check the show notes.
So, Shawn, you mentioned one national organization. Are there any others that you are working on collaborating with? And maybe we'll hear some further details down the line.
You know what? I want to bring up one, Lisa, the Blind Greek and Masonic group, right? It's not a division, but it's a group. And it's a group of members who are come from Greek organizations, Greek letter organization, and Masonic organizations and Eastern Stars as well. A lot of these organizations have blind people in them. And we have blind members who are part of these organizations. And one of the things we want to do is let folks know that as blind people, we have the capability of joining these organizations, right? But one of the things we're doing at the National Convention, we're actually collecting book bags and school supplies, not only for children at a women's shelter in New Orleans, but we're also collecting book bags and school supplies for blind children in New Orleans as well. So, because being a part of Greek letter organizations and Masonic organization and Eastern Stars, it's all about community service. So I'm excited that this will be our first community service project at a national convention. So I always encourage individuals who are part of these organizations who are blind to to please join us. But we know that there are blind people who want to be a part of these organizations, and so we encourage them to join us as well, so they can learn about, as blind people, how can you be a part of these organizations? How can you be in an inclusive space? One of my members of the group, of course, lives in Philadelphia, Denise Brown, who's a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta, right? I'm a proud member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. So as blind people, we came into these organizations. So I just, the purpose of that group is really to bring inclusiveness for blind people within Greek and Masonic organizations.
And what about affiliate and chapter level? I know there are sometimes other activities going on, to support NOBBL at the national level.
Sure.
Any more local things going on around the country?
That's a great question. And this is what we're trying to do, Lisa. So, for example, we only have one division, right? One affiliate who has a division, which is in South Carolina. But one of the things we want to do is, and I mentioned the National Council on Negro Women, right?
Yes.
And we want to, so our New Orleans chapter of the Federation is going to be meeting with them to see how they can partner up to do activities within their communities. So NOBBL's goal is to have blind Black people not only sort of round up and educate those blind Black people in their areas, but also be a part of the NAACP, the local NAACP, be a part of the National Urban League, be a part of, again, National Council on Negro Women. So we want to have a systemic presence across the country within these organizations, but also we're encouraging those Black blind members who are part of NOBBL, right, to go back to their affiliates and sort of recruit blind Black members, right? And so sort of educate them as well.
I want to go back to earlier when you talked about the scholarships that will be presented.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little more about the candidate? I guess they're not candidates anymore at this point. I guess they're the actual recipients. How many you have, where they're from. Are you at liberty to share the amount of the scholarships? Just tell us whatever you can share about that.
So what I was alluding to with that was that the National Federation of the Blind as a whole has a scholarship program in which we award 30 scholarships to blind students across the country. Out of those 30, out of those 30 finalists, we have 3 who are Black, right? And so we have them come speak to the membership of NOBBL in regards to who they are, where they're from, and what they're going to be studying. And so those students, finalists, will receive $8,000 apiece.
At some point, would NOBBL have its own unique scholarship?
That's the plan, Lisa.
Okay.
You know how the world works. You need money. And so once we start raising more money, and that's our goal, to award scholarships and support to the convention and things like that. So because I think our convention as a whole for Black blind people, not just for the division meeting, but as a whole, I mean, the experience is just a wonderful experience, and it's a confidence builder, right? And it gives you the tools to take back to your community, not only to enhance yourself as a blind person, but to bring awareness within your community as well. So, but that's a great question. That's something we are looking forward to doing down the line.
And you know what else that reminds me of? I know there's a committee that is dedicated to HBCUs. So what are they up to in terms of any updates with that committee?
Yeah. Okay. So under the NOBBL is the HBCU committee. So right now we're just in the process of just recruiting, but also going to these HBCUs and telling them, look, we're here. We're here as blind Black people. And if you have blind Black students, let them know about us, right? So for example, we did a strong effort. I had a strong effort in disseminating information about our scholarship program to HBCUs, right?
Right.
And so yeah, we've been doing some outreach. I've actually helped assist a couple colleges in regards to reasonable accommodations for students who may be attending their particular college as well. I've been mentoring, like I mentor one young man who is attending Howard now, blind individual. And so we are right now we in sort of information mode, like disseminating information about us as the HBCU committee, and also just letting people know in general that for those blind individuals who are graduates of HBCUs, that we're here. right? And so I love it because we just met a young man. He graduated from Jackson State University, right? Who's we kind of getting him into the fold. Morehouse. We got members of North Carolina A&T, Howard, Shaney State in Pennsylvania. I mean, it's just South Carolina State. So we have members from these wonderful, prestigious colleges who are part of our committee. So it's all, again, Lisa, we definitely are going to try to make a systemic impact, and just, again, letting those blind Black people know who are part of these colleges that we are here as the National Federation of the Blind and NOBBL.
Talking a lot about convention, what besides the NOBBL meeting and getting together with those folks, what else do you look forward to at National Convention? We're all getting into convention mode, getting ready to go to New Orleans. What else are you looking forward to down there?
Great question. I mean, all of it. Like, so I always look forward to, number one, meeting blind people from around the country, right? Who just, that's it for me. I love meeting, not to say I don't want to run into some of my old buddies, but I love meeting new people, right? People who are being introduced to the organization, but also just being introduced to the blind community. I always look forward to the advances in assistive technology, just to learn about those type of things, just learning about where we are as a blind community in society in general. So the wonderful speakers that we always have during our general session, I always look forward to that. I'm also looking forward, I'm going to go back, just transition back real quick to a DEI perspective. We have an Asian and Pacific group, right? That's being formulated. So, just having different groups from other diverse backgrounds come together as well in their own perspective spaces. One of the ones I like to talk about too, David, is Sisters of the Mujer, which is a program given by all Latino women. And David, every year, this is it's like clockwork. When this program is conducted, when people leave that program, meaning Latino women, they leave that program crying. And one of the things they always say is that I just didn't never know there were women like me that are blind as well. So it's a combination of so much. It's a beautiful thing. Just going to the presidential suite and, congregating with all my federations from around the country. It's just so much. If people go to NFB.org and see our agenda, it is loaded. Loaded. And I always look forward to the mentorship part as well, because I do, while I'm there, I'm mentoring new people who are first-time convention goers. And then also I like to speak at different, programs and events for teens and youth with the youth track as well.
How about the exhibit hall?
I'm glad you brought up the exhibit hall, David, because it is, man, I'm telling you, people need to come to the exhibit hall. Every affiliate seems to have a table and they're selling wonderful things from their affiliate, not just blindness souvenirs, but so, for example, Hawaii sells the chocolate macadamia nuts and, anything that's reflective of where people are from around the country. So I just love the exhibit hall, man. And again, this is where you kind of encounter a lot of different federations from around the country who are just going around and, just scanning things. But David, as you kind of when you mentioned that, I'm thinking of our Washington seminar, right? Where we have our little exhibit table where we sell things for those Washington seminarians who are coming in.
Right, and that's what I was thinking about, that because you had such a great spread there. I thought sure you'd be selling all that stuff down in New Orleans.
We sell out, David. We that's what we do. We don't have enough. So, but not. but I think when we sell our merchandise at the seminar, it's reflective of the things we have going on in Washington, D.C. So it's a big seller to get Washington, D.C. souvenirs at the Washington seminar.
Shawn, give us a sense of just how the membership has changed, how it has grown. Do you know what you're up to now and what your numbers kind of started out looking like?
So we talking about NOBBL, correct?
About NOBBL, yeah.
Oh yeah, it was light. I mean, because it was new, but oh man, we got a lot of people now. I think we're up to a little bit over 150.
Okay.
We got quite a few people, and this is active and inactive, quite honestly.
Yeah.
But one thing I love about our programming throughout the year, Lisa, is that we can see through Zoom how many people participate in our program, and we rarely have less than 40 to 50 people who attend each program. I mean, which is pretty cool. So yeah, so we're doing okay, and the word is continuing to spread. When we have our convention though, and this is not some fake stat or just what do I want to call it? Not a statistic, but just a fun fact per se. The largest division meeting, and I would say if not one, is definitely two, is NOBBL. I mean, we packed the house.
Yeah, I will not be there this year, but definitely I sat in on the meeting in Orlando, and that room was pretty full.
Yes. You know what? And you mentioned membership, right? But ever since we started, starting from BLSA, we were having programs. Our programs at the convention are always full. Sometimes standing room only, like it's huge. Now, why do some of these people don't end up joining?
Yeah.
But a lot do once they leave. But but we're always packed.
So maybe we can talk about that. Yeah, some of the, I guess, incentives to join, because there are so many committees. You kind of rattled them off. Go a little more slowly and tell us a little more about the committees under NOBBL, because there may be opportunities there that people didn't even know about.
Great question. So, as I stated earlier, we have the Black men's group under NOBBL. We have the Black women's group. We have our mentorship and outreach group. We have our Black elected leaders group. And we have our Black seniors group, right? And so we have these groups really sort of to kind of pull people in from an interest standpoint, right? Because we have, quite a few blind Black seniors, not only in the organization, but in the country in general, right? And so, we kind of utilize these groups to build a sense of commonality, right?
Yeah.
And so, in addition, again, as I mentioned, the HBCU committee we do have, and our health and wellness committee that we have as well, right? And so, go ahead.
No. I'm glad you corrected me, because you're absolutely right. So there's the groups, but there are also the committees that are actually getting the jobs done.
Yeah. And see, we can. I mean, I think groups and committees have the same sort of mission in some ways. Though I mean, one just called a group, one is called a committee, but they all kind of operate the same. So, but I'm very happy with the group. I mean, because we have people facilitating these groups, leading these groups, and putting some outstanding content out there, which is what we really want.
And I'm glad you helped me again with a nice segue. Is there a goal of just how much content you want to put out, or meetings you want to have? Do you try to meet at least once a month? Like, have you thought that through, or does it just kind of happen when there really is something going on?
Great question. So, for example, our Black women's group has programming every other month, right? Every second Monday of the month. But our goal is so our mentorship and outreach group, they put something out every first Sunday of the month. So it depends on the group, right, on how much they really want to do. But I just think that our group, number one, we want to it's just not for Black people to participate, right? We've had people who are not of color who listen to some of the content that we present out there. But our goal is to put as much as we can. I don't want to tire out our membership. So for example, Lisa, a lot of our leaders of our groups are leaders within the federation or within their respective affiliates. So we don't want to just have them continuously do groups and then tire themselves out and, with the things they have committed within their own affiliates. So I'm very happy about the amount of content that we've been putting out every month, or so for some of our groups every other month, right? But and I think after this calendar year, a lot more things. I can't say what's going to happen, but we are planning for something big for 2026. Not just NOBBL, but the DEI initiative as well, which is really going to have some national presence. So I'll be calling you again to announce that.
I was going to say, sounds like we have to have you back again.
It's huge. It's going to be something that's. I won't stop short of saying groundbreaking. I think it's going to be really something that, as diverse blind people in general, just not Black people, but all diverse backgrounds, it's going to be something that we've never seen before.
Oh, wow. Ooh, okay.
You had mentioned members and people, whether they join or not. How would someone go about joining NOBBL?
If you are interested in NOBBL in general, we will urge you to email us at diversity@nfb.org, of course, with your name and affiliate information. And then we'll, in turn, email you back information on how to join NOBBL in regards to, paying membership dues. Our membership dues are $10 per year. And so one thing we do, David, because that's a great question, we ask the person, we tell the person what our groups are and committees are and see what interest they have in those. And if they tell us, oh, well, I'm interested in the Black women's group. So we then connect them to the leader of our Black women's group, right? And so that's how we kind of get people in the fold of joining NOBBL.
Well, it sounds like there's a lot going on, but there's also a lot you're not telling us yet. But definitely, if folks who are attending the convention, I'm assuming that none of your meetings will be virtual. That's only general session, I think.
Great
right?
question. Yes, that's correct. That is correct. Yep. None of them will be virtual, but
so be there or be square, right?
That's it. That's it. Be there or be square, or just be prepared for more programming throughout the year through Zoom. So, yep.
Any last call to action, Shawn?
No, I'm just grateful to the both of you for the outstanding work that you do on White Canes Connect. And, I just want people to, I love myself. I love being a blind person, Lisa and Dare. I love it, and all I want to do is, let those people out there who are, that lack self-assurance and self-confidence, help them understand as a blind person, you truly can live the life you want, and that there's so many things. That's why we have these different groups, not just under the DEI perspective, right? I mean, just across the landscape, computer science division for those techies like David who just love assistive technology, right? Just the crafters group and the sports and recs division, and just so much for so many people. And that's all I'm trying to do, Lisa. I mean, one thing I love about it, and I'm gonna leave y'all with this one. I'm not gonna be in leadership for long, right? I'm grooming people, to be leaders one day. But even when my leadership stops, I'm never gonna stop wanting to educate people about blind people, but also I will never stop mentoring.
I'm just glad to hear that, Shawn. I'm so glad that you're not holding so tightly to your leadership, because it really should be about leading at the time, but along the way, grooming those to come after us. So I love that.
Oh yeah. You definitely want to be in grooming position. Like, you just don't want to just, I know people love leadership, right? And I get it. But in the same token, while you're leading, you have to groom someone. Like, here in my DC affiliate, I'm grooming, leaders now, because I know, like I said, I'm not going to be leading forever. So,
Now I have one non-blind related question.
Sure.
And it has to do with football.
Oh,
Commanders
Jesus.
Better than the Eagles this year, or what do you think?
I mean, let me just be realistic here. The Eagles are the Super Bowl champs, and I didn't see them lose so many, not many players. I think they'll be back on top. But I believe that now the Eagles-Washington rivalry is basically relevant now, right? Both teams are very good now, and so just looking forward to a good season. Much respect to the Eagles. As a matter of fact, David, I'm glad you brought that up, because you have Eagles fan, of course, in Eagle country, who have made sure that they will get me an Eagles t-shirt that I have to wear during the national convention. So I will be wearing that.
That's right.
I will be wearing an Eagles t-shirt, but I will be wearing it proudly. So it's fine. Okay. It's all good. But I'm looking forward to it.
Shawn, it was wonderful to have you back. And part 3, I guess, is to come. 3 or 4, I'm not sure. But we will have you back, because you've really piqued our interest here about what you've got in store in 2026.
No doubt. I'm looking forward to coming back. Thank you so much again for having me.
Thanks again to Shawn for coming on and giving us the update on NOBBL and talking about convention as well. And Lisa, it's getting very exciting in convention season this year.
Yeah, we're gearing up, and I'm glad Shawn came back on just to kind of put NOBBL back on our radar. There are, as you heard from the different groups and the committees, there's so many different ways that you can get involved, and there's probably, whatever your whatever your demographics are, there's a group for that. So I think people should just sit in if you've never been to a NOBBL meeting. it would be a great opportunity, just sit in on the meeting and just hear what they've got going on. It sounds like there will be even more ways to volunteer and support the big news that will be coming out of in 2026.
Yeah, if you're going to convention, that is one thing that to meet folks in person, and I know everybody can do it via Zoom, but to meet folks face to face and maybe go out for drinks or dinner or whatever it might be, once you make those connections, nothing can be better than that. So if you're going to National Convention in New Orleans and you're interested in going to NOBBL, again, it's Thursday night at 7. The room number will be in the show notes down below, so take a look there.
So get involved, and for those who are going to convention, we would love to have you start thinking about what you might want to share with White Canes Connect upon your return, especially some of you first-time goers out there.
Yeah, we would love to hear from you for that. But before convention, coming up on July 5th, Lavette Bird's Women Healed for a Purpose is having an event at the Park Tower Apartments. You're probably pretty familiar with that address, 4001 Conshohocken Avenue in Philadelphia, from 11 to 1. It's free. There's going to be some goodies there for sale that any proceeds, 30% will be donated back to Women Healed for a Purpose. But I'll have all the information down below in the show notes, so check that out and join Lavette Bird and everybody else there on the 5th of July, right before convention. You can do both. You can go to that and then come to convention. And we would love to hear from you, like Lisa said, as far as convention goes.
Yeah, and just a shout out to Lavette sticking with her, building this nonprofit, very faithful and making sure she keeps programming out there and just looking for ways to support women. So good work, Lavette.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So as Lisa mentioned, we do want to hear from you, whether you're going to convention, when you come back from convention. So give us a buzz and let us know what you loved about convention, what you didn't like about convention, how many beignets you've eaten. My wife Liz and I have never been to New Orleans, so we're looking forward to trying a few of the local favorites, beignets being number one on the list. I'm looking forward to some jambalaya and a few other things, but let us know what about the convention you loved, you didn't love. Give us a call, 267-338-4495. You've got up to 3 minutes. Leave your name and town. If you do leave a voicemail, again, 267-338-4495. We would love to hear from you.
And if you would prefer, if you're very eloquent in writing and your prose, you just don't know when to stop, then email us. And the email address is whitecanesconnect@gmail.com.
Lisa, another great episode. Looking forward to New Orleans. We will miss you down there and maybe bring you back a beignet or two. Or send them. Maybe I'll send them to you.
Okay. I'll be waiting. Thank you. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Thanks for listening. Take care.